ranking Ariana Grande's albums. It's finally happening. What is going on, everybody? My name is Nick, and welcome to the Good Schmidt Podcast. Yes, I'm reviving it, but not to talk about sports. I am going to actually be talking about music, and this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, as I used to actually rank albums on my YouTube channel, and when I was in high school. I decided to finally bring it back because it's kind of a dull time for the NBA right now, as I'm still waiting for 2K to come out, and decided to finally bite the bullet, and we're going to rank all of Ariana Grande's albums from 2013 all the way to her most recent album, Positions, which was released in 2020. And yeah, let's get right into this. I don't necessarily need to give Miss Ariana Grande an introduction, as she is one of the biggest artists in the world, but I will give her an introduction if you don't know who she is. Ariana Grande is a former actress and now a singer, born on June 26, 1993, so she turned 30 years old a couple months ago. She was born in Boca Raton, Florida, to Joan Grande, who is a Brooklyn-born CEO of Hose McCain Communications, which is a manufacturer of communications and safety equipment owned by the Grande family since 1964. And by the way, all this information I got from Wikipedia. Hopefully it's accurate. But Joan is her mom. Her dad is Edward Butera, a graphic design firm owner in Boca Raton. Ariana Grande is of Italian descent and has described herself as an Italian-American with Sicilian and Abernese roots, so that makes sense why she knows Spanish, because she's of Italian descent. She does have an older half-brother, Frankie Grande, who is 40 years old. He is an entertainer and producer. Some other facts here about Ariana. Scooter Braun is her agent for her musical career. This is something I just found out because I was curious. Ariana Grande's Nona, her name is Majerio Grande. She is 97 years old. She's going to be 98 on October 12th of this year. And Aria references her Nona actually quite a bit in her music. In one of her songs I'll be talking about, she's on that song. Ariana Grande was married to Dalton Gomez, a luxury real estate agent, on May 15th, 2021, but she just filed for divorce in July of this year. It didn't work out. Hopefully she'll be able to find love again. I think she is dating somebody right now. I did not look into that, but I think she's already on to her next relationship, which is just crazy. Ariana Grande got her start on a Nickelodeon show, actually Victorious, as a character by the name of Cat Valentine. She had to dye her hair red. I'm sure many of you guys know Victorious. I wasn't a big fan of it, but I always was a fan of Ariana Grande, her goofy character, Cat Valentine. And she also got to be got a leading role as Cat Valentine on the show Sam and Cat later. And that's what really jump-started her career. Along with going to musical theater school, I believe she went to. And from there, she released her first album, which I'm going to be talking about now, which is Yours Truly. It, unfortunately, is at the bottom of my list at number 6, but it is a great album. Just recently, Ariana Grande celebrated the album's 10th anniversary, which was released on August 30th, 2013. She released a deluxe edition and video performances of songs for the album. Definitely got to go check those out. I haven't checked all the performances out yet, but you guys definitely should as well. And there's a new cover too for the album as well. But anyways, about the album, it's definitely not a bad album. It's actually a guilty pleasure album for me. I mean, it's definitely not nowhere near her best. I have it at the bottom of the list. Just there's a lot higher quality albums that she released later on in her career, as you guys will see, and recently. Yeah, I just don't think this album is as strong as others. My favorites on here are definitely The Way with Mac Miller, rest in peace, man. I love the piano ballad in it, and just the vocals from Ariana Grande are top notch in this. Good lyrics as well. She's just talking about her relationship with Mac Miller, singing about her relationship with Mac Miller pretty much. And also, Right There is awesome too. Features the rapper Big Sean. Really catchy tune as well. Yeah, those are really the only two songs the main songs worth noting on this album. I mean, like Baby I and Lovin' It are good as well. So yeah, enough about yours truly. And yeah, it's crazy that like this was 10 years ago, and her music career's been going this long, and it continues to go to this day. Alright, at number 5 on the list, I have Dangerous Woman, released in 2016. This album, I've kind of mixed opinions on. I think it's a decent album, but in my opinion, it has the worst song in her entire career that she's released so far, and Every Day. I just can't stand it. Nothing really more I have to say about it. And actually, backtracking a little bit, I forgot to give my grade for yours truly. I would give it a 7 out of 10. For this album, Dangerous Woman, I would give it a 7.5. I think it's decent. Every Day really does drag it down. But there are some really good tunes on here, like Be Alright, Dangerous Woman. Into You is a bop. Definitely my favorite song on here. Side to Side's pretty good. It has a really sexy music video with Nicki Minaj. They're riding bicycles. Greedy's a good song, and like some of the songs like towards the back half of the album are solid. Like I Don't Care, Bad Decisions, they're good. New Better Forever Boy is a solid song too. So yeah, overall it's a decent album. It shows like her maturity, which I respect, that she's growing up as a person, as an artist. But I wouldn't rank this album as highly as I've seen some people. I've seen some people put this album at number 1, but I would not put there. And yeah, my favorite song on the album is Into You. And I also forgot to mention, my favorite song on yours truly would be Right There, probably, or The Way. It's a tie between Right There and The Way. But yeah, for this album, Into You is the best track. Alright, on to her most recent project here. I have at number 4, Positions. Positions, the standard edition was released on October 30th, 2020. Then the deluxe edition was released on February 19th, 2021. This album, pretty solid. Overall, I think it's good. I just think the other 3 albums ahead of it have stronger track lists. There are definitely good songs on here, such as Motive. Motive's really catchy. That would be my favorite one on here. 34 plus 35 is fine. I don't mind that song. Actually, really not a fan of Off the Table, even though The Weeknd is on it. And I love The Weeknd, but as an artist, I'm not a huge fan of Off the Table. The West Side's a decent song. The title track Position is probably the second best song on this album, or my second favorite. POV is actually a really good song. Like she's trying to see like the point of view of her fans, the point of view her fans have of her, which is neat. Worst Behavior is a pretty catchy song as well. Test Drive, not bad either. And I don't mind Safety Net with Ty Dolla $ign either. It's a decent song. Yeah, overall Position's good album. Yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10 for a grade. I think it's solid. There's just the top 3 are just better, have stronger track lists. And let's get into the top 3, where I have 2018 Sweetener. This album was actually released the year after, or months after the Manchester terrorist attack at one of her concerts. It's just so sad for her, and she's forever emotionally scarred. After that happened, I got a feel for Grande after that. That was rough. And this was the resulting musical project she released after that incident, let's just call it. And Sweetener was a very experimental album, and I'd say a lot of the experiments worked out. Aside from the first 3 tracks, I'm just not a fan. And I don't really like the Pharrell Williams feature. I'm really not a fan of it. Even though Pharrell is a talented artist, and I'm glad she brought him onto this. Ari brought him onto this album to help produce it. He definitely is a better producer, I think, than he was a singer on here. Well, obviously, but yeah, not a fan of the first 3 songs, but the rest of this album is really strong. God Is a Woman was a big hit on this album. No Tears Left to Cry is one of her best written songs, and my favorite on the album. I like the Missy Elliott feature on Borderline. Better Off's a really chill song. So is Good Night and Go and Get Well Soon. The title track Sweetener is good. Successful is really catchy. Just talking about how she's grown as an artist and how she's handling the fame that she's receiving now, because Ariana Grande was almost at the peak of her popularity at this point in her career, and that song's just talking about that. Breathe In was a good song. I think that song was inspired by the Manchester attacks, so that song's a very deep track for sure in terms of lyrical content. I think. You might not agree with me on this. Also, the album ahead of this, I'm going to get some flack for having ahead of it, but yeah, this is all a matter of opinion. I did not mention that. If you don't agree with me, let me know. I'll understand if you don't agree with me. Like, you could rank these in any order, and I would not be upset with you. I mean, because all of her albums are at least decent. But yeah, Sweetener, good, really strong experimental album. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. I actually was just listening to it again before making this video. It's a solid album for sure. Actually, it's more than solid. It's really good. It's very good. It's in the top 3. On to number 2. This is the one I'm going to get flack for in my everything from 2014, her sophomore release. You got the classic album cover with the posing on the stool picture. I like that album cover a lot. Let's just leave it at that. But the reason why this is controversial is because all of the it's sounding dated because of like the Zed and like the Max Martin production. People think it sounds dated, and there's some really people think there's songs that are boring on here, which there are some that are more boring, and their track list is more like a playlist, which is fine with me. I don't mind that. It doesn't have to be a cohesive album. It's the most cohesive album. It's their second release. But personally, I have a personal connection to this album because it was the album that made me a fan of her. I remember listening to this album in the car and on runs around the time it came out, or maybe a little bit before. I think it was when Break Free and One Last Time came out, summer of 2013 or 14. And yeah, I just have good memories of this album. And I love almost all the songs on here. Besides the title track, and yeah, really besides the title track and a few other and a couple other songs, aside from the title track and just a little bit of Your Heart and Bang Bang isn't that good. Other than those songs, I love this entire album. One Last Time's one of her best songs. Problem was my favorite song for a long time by her. It was just such a unique song with the saxophone and the whisper chorus. That's again another controversial thing. And putting Iggy Azalea as a feature was also, I would say, it's pretty controversial too. But that song's a bop. One Last Time, like I mentioned. I like Why Try, but it has a really cringy chorus. Break Free, obviously in the Sing movies, you probably know that. Or in Sing 2. And yeah, just all these songs are really good. Hands on Me, people don't like, but I'm a fan of it. Love Me Harder is how I discovered The Weeknd, actually. I was like, who is this guy? I didn't know who the heck The Weeknd was at the time I first heard Love Me Harder. And didn't become a fan until years later of him. But anyways, the Weeknd video is coming. Yeah, it's coming. This is about Ariana Grande. But anyways, yeah, Love Me Harder, great song. Yeah, and the bonus tracks are awesome on here too. Only One and You Don't Know Me, also very good. So my everything, classic Ariana Grande in my opinion. It's kind of her first era. It wraps up the first era of her career. The first era was she was finding her footing on Yours Truly and My Everything. Then you have Dangerous Woman, where she's you have the current, well, it's 2 eras. Then you have the Dangerous Woman to current day era, where she's coming into her own as an artist. But yeah, anyways, My Everything, classic album, like I said. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. It's great. And Problem was my favorite song on this album. And finally, we have the number 1 Ariana Grande album on my list. And it's not everybody's number 1, but it is mine. Thank You Next from 2019. I believe this is her magnum opus because all the tracks are very strong. I know this is more of a poppier album than Sweetener and Yours Truly and some of her other albums, or just mainly those two. But it doesn't matter to me because all these songs are bangers, especially Bloodline. It's such a catchy song, Bloodline, and actually, I believe that her Nona is talking at the beginning of the song. I referenced that before. Like, Bloodline's the one song where you can hear Nona in the background, and then Ariana Grande's laughing. They say something like really discreetly at the beginning, and then it gets into the song. But yeah, I believe, I could be wrong, but Bloodline's like about her family, and like she doesn't want her family to get messed up by her relationships. Yeah, she's had numerous relationships that I'm not going to talk about, but I've already talked about some people that she's been in a relationship with, like Mac Miller and Big Sean. But anyways, more about the album here. Thank You Next. Imagine is a great way to kick off the album. Strong track. Needy's good too, showing that she's vulnerable and like needs help because she was going through tough times when she made this album. Still, yeah, just a lot going on in her life. Nassau's a pretty good track as well. Just every track is good on here. Fake Smile. She was not happy. It's just talking about like she was faking, trying to be happy during this time, pretty much. Bad Idea is a good song. Makeup's good. Ghosted, I think, was about like a relationship that she was in. I don't know which one. I don't know if it was the Pete Davidson one or not. But yeah, I think they mentioned on Sweetener, her last album, she wrote a song about Pete Davidson, the comedian from SNL. But yeah, I'm not sure if Ghostin' was about that or not. In My Head is an awesome song too. I love that song. I think it's just talking about things that she's going through again, like tough times. Seven Rings is talking about her fame, and then Thank You Next is talking about Ariana Grande is discussing all of her past relationships and that she's happy, like focusing on her self-care, which is really healthy. And then like Break Up With Your Girlfriend on Board was just a fun way to end the album overall. And yeah, this album I think will forever be my favorite album by her, just because of how strong all the tracks are and like how vulnerable she gets on here. Like she puts it all out on the table on this album, what she was all going through during this time. And yeah, it's like a time capsule of her life, which is neat. And I don't know if I mentioned it already, but Bloodline is the best, or is my favorite song on here. Yeah, I just love that song for sure. And yeah, this album's a 10 out of 10. It's it is the defining album in her career, and while Positions didn't top it, she's going to continue to build off of it as her career goes along. And as far as like what's next for Ariana Grande, she is working on a Wicked like musical project right now. She's going to be acting in that. I believe that comes out in November of this year, 2023. And then after that, she'll probably release another album, which I would love to review on the channel and have it as part of the podcast. That would be fun. And yeah, I think she's in another relationship like I mentioned, but I'm not sure. Now, it seems like Ariana Grande's life is turning around after she had a rough patch in 2017. So that is great to see. And yeah, I hope her Nona makes it to her 98th birthday in October too. Cross my fingers. Hopefully she can make it to 98. And yeah, just to wrap out this video, I'm going to give my top 5 Ariana Grande songs. So number 1 would be Bloodline. Number 2, Thank You Next. Number 3, No Tears Left to Cry. It's such a well-written song. Number 4 is Problem, and then number 5 is One Last Time. And some honorable mentions, because she just has so many great songs. I actually have Motive as an honorable mention. Successful from Sweetener, Motive from Positions. In My Head, and Imagine from Thank You Next. Into You from Dangerous Woman, and then The Way and Right There from her first album, Yours Truly. And yeah, that is going to wrap up this episode of the Good Schmidt Podcast. Next up, I'm going to be doing the Weekend Projects ranked pod with one of my friends and former college roommates, hopefully. I'd love to get him on because he's actually the one who helped me get into the Weeknd's music. And yeah, I would like to see what his thoughts are on each of the projects and where he'd rank the albums and the song, and where he'd rank what his top 5 Weeknd songs list would look like. That would be interesting. And yeah, like I said, it's going to wrap this one up. Hopefully you all enjoyed. This has been the Good Schmidt Podcast. My name is Nick, and I am signing out.